Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Ethereum, Solana and Injective price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. We're gonna start with Ethereum on the all-time history where we have a potential 1, 2 and we're looking of course at an impulse here, finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1, wave 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a second wave 1, and then we're looking here at a very long sideways WX and a Y followed by a potential double 1, 2 here. And of course, if this is a double 1, 2, we are looking therefore for 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 toward the upside. Currently, this wave 2 might still be unfolding, of course, for higher prices, which it might still, of course, need a little bit, a little bit lower before we move for higher. So we're gonna see this, of course, closer before moving, of course, into the lower time frame final scenario, which might be a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, also wave 5 to unfold as an impulse in double 1, 2. As a bear market, of course, very far possibility right now, but it can be, of course, a longer sideways range here as a potential W. This, all of it is your X in 3 waves, and you move in wave Y here or ABC. Of course, it can be for 1-to-1 fib level, but very far possibility for $800 from, of course, 4K for Ethereum. I still believe that the bullish scenario has, of course, much higher potential, but of course, we might get a little lower prices a little bit before we move towards the upside. Now, let's move inside it, of course, on the lower time frame for our chart here. We can see clearly that we have the double 1, 2. We spoke about it. And currently, we're looking at an A, B, and a C unfolding. Now, yesterday, we saw, of course, invalidation of this impulse. In case you are in double 1, 2 here, you have, of course, invalidation taken. Therefore, we have to consider that this is a finished structure in a zigzag here as a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 potential ending diagonal is finishing up, of course, the structure here after an A, B, and a C. The wave C, of course, is the ending diagonal here, unfolding as expected, as well as a potential scenario here in a wave 2, of course, and then starting the move toward the upside. Therefore, this scenario as impulsive is, of course, out of the equation here. I believe that the highest possibility is a potential wave 1 and wave 2 here for this diagonal to be unfolding. Therefore, we might see, of course, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zigzag downward for wave 3 and then 4 and a 5, of course, for this diagonal to be unfolding for Ethereum. And of course, as a target for a wave 2 here, in case we are looking for a very deep target for a wave 2, it might be, of course, between the 0.5 or 0.618, I believe, can be this blue box here for Ethereum. And I believe the 0.5 can be very likely, of course, in this case, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and start to move toward the upside one more time again. So yeah, these are the possibility for Ethereum. This is, of course, what we need to test for now. If we fail this scenario, of course, if we take the 886 here, and that means, of course, you are very close to take the low invalidation of this 1, 2, meaning this has transformed to a wave C, meaning we drop down, and therefore we start, of course, to think about something bearish, which is the main scenario that we saw on the daily, very big wave W, X, and Y, or potentially can be also a triangle. But yeah, we're still, of course, very far from this possibility. Until now, I'm not gonna annoy you with it. So this is regarding Ethereum. For Solana, we are looking also for a potential on the daily here for a potential A, B, and a C, right? We were looking for a potential expanding here of an impulse upward. Because before, of course, we were looking for 4 and a 5 that we might have finished a wave 3 over there, wave C, and a wave 1. Yeah, so basically today and before, of course, the last days, we saw, of course, a drop down, and we saw a potential bear market that it might be unfolding, or very deep correction, which is, of course, bringing us to this scenario right now where your wave 4 is finished here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 5, no extension toward the upside. And that means this is back to the track. Well, we have an A, B, and a C here as a zigzag. If you remember the scenario, we had a lot of course, question about it in the comments, and you were surprised that I was calling this scenario, knowing that the things were moving upward. But yeah, at the end, you need this scenario, because if you are in a 1-2, wave 1 finished here, ABC, you need the wave 2, 0.38. If you are in a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you need a 3 waves for a wave 4, perfection for wave 4 are those fib levels, of course, which is between $75. And of course, finally, if you are in A, you're looking for a wave B, and you're looking later on for a wave C. So 3 waves has to unfold. In Confluence, we have the 1-to-1 fib level, $80. Definitely, of course, the wave C can be extended a little bit to hit, of course, at least the 0.38, and then move towards the upside. If we dive deeper inside it, on the 4 hours chart, we can see clearly that we have, of course, a dump today to be unfolding after a potential 1-2-1-2. I believe we are in a very low possibility here, and especially that we see kind of like a dump, but we're gonna dive deeper even. But if this is a 1-2 here and the wave 2 is unfolding, we still can move for higher in double 1-2. So the scenario is not yet invalidated until we take, of course, the 886 and even, of course, confirmation here for lower. Yeah, so if we take this low, that is our confirmation for lower. If we move even inside it on the 2 hours chart, if it is something as a impulse unfolding there as a 1-2 here, we're having potentially another 1-2 and then 3-4-5 can be unfolding, knowing that this is double 1-2 and might be still, of course, your wave 4 invalidation not taken yet. Knowing that we see here kind of like 5 waves, but this is not the case, guys. This is a potential ABC there, where you are looking at a wave A, B, and a C. Your wave C is 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. You see, of course, rejection hitting the zone 1 here in case you are in 1, 2, 3, 4. Interfering, meaning there is no impulse over there, and very likely that we continue the downtrend here as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to take the low one more time. And taking the low, of course, that means the 886 can be taken, so we gotta be careful with this scenario. Once you take the 886, there is a big chance to take the low, big chance to invalidate here, of course, this scenario, turning it into W, X, and a Y. And that means 3 waves, and of course, meaning you might be, of course, here in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 continuation toward the downside. It can be, of course, unfolding something to be expanded even much more, and of course reaching the $75 for Solana. So to be watched is, of course, right now on the 2 hours chart, any kind of rebound, of course, in case that this is gonna transform again to double 1-2 and then 3-4-5. Meaning, of course, if we take the high, possibility, of course, to move for higher. But again, the most important signal here for bullish is, of course, invalidation of bearish. Even if we take it, we still have a possibility, of course, for an ending diagonal in A, B, and a C. The ending diagonal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless, of course, we take the high, we move, of course, for bullish again. Yep, so to be watched, guys. To be watched, of course. So we're gonna range maybe for a while, even nobody knows. But of course, we need invalidation of bearish for bullish here. If we still below this price, the possibility is to move, of course, for lower slowly. Even it can be fast. So that was it for Solana. For Injective, and Injective also on the daily, we have a potential bearish scenario or very deep correction that it might be unfolding here, and we are looking, of course, for a potential double 1-2, big double 1-2. Now this wave 2 still can be, of course, possible, but you need, of course, another 1-2 here. Basically, if this is a wave 2 and we don't have to consider the wick and only the bodies there, so you might be in a wave 1, A, B, C for a wave 2 and then moving for higher. But of course, the things are still looking impulsive downward, and it might take the low. And that means, of course, it might open a deeper correction in a wave A, wave B as a zigzag ABC, and then we drop down 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for a deeper correction, which it might be, of course, a bigger 1, 2, and then moving for higher. Or it can be an A, B, where your wave B is not finished yet, and you're looking again for a wave C towards the upside. The wave C here can be an impulse, or it can be, of course, an ending diagonal before we move for higher. Yeah, so this is the highest possibility in ABC. Honestly, I see it. I don't see really yet a double 1-2, of course, so the wave C can hit again $60. If we dive inside it here, we can see clearly after a potential wave B there, we have double 1-2 here unfolding for this scenario, which is the following. So basically, we are looking for the invalidation around this price, which is not given yet. Yeah, so we see simply, of course, 0.618 here. Let me dive inside it. So we see only 0.618 here hit, meaning failure, of course, to breach the one-to-one fib level. We are in a potential ABC wave 4, and we drop down impulsively again, where we might see, of course, a unfinished, of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 1, and then wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5 continuation to take at least the body here as a wave 5. And that means, of course, it might be a finished impulse here, but of course, to continue a bigger double 1-2, because you have 1-2 and potentially 3, 4, and a 5, and another bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 here to finish, of course, a wave C or a wave 2. Yeah, so we gotta be careful. It might fill this wick even, the bear market might fill this wick even later on again, and then start the move towards the upside one more time for bull run for Injective. Yep, so these are the updates for Ethereum, Solana, and Injective. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.